got chicken, ducks, and roosters on the farm. I'm just beating backwards, snoozing the alarm. Johnny ate the grass, he's mooing on the bong. Gypsy blisters never sing for long. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm not wrong.
Looking at Julian, my Star Wars movie?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what one it is. Do you like Star Wars?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Fucking love Star Wars.
What's your favorite, like, character?
Probably R2.
Oh, he's so cute.
I love R2.
Yeah, I love him. I feel like him and Mudang have the same kind of energy. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, very, like, just, like, polite and, like, just very cutesy. Yeah, very cutesy. Yeah. He's very demure, very cutesy, very polite
like,
with his,
adorable. I'm like, I was like, I think I'm, like, I am R2, like.
Yeah.
But outside of, like, a droid character, not Leia,
Ray?
Padme.
Padme's that girl.
She's my...
Padme is that girl. She put on for the city.
Dude.
Padme put on for the city.
Growing up, my mom bought me, you remember like those paper books? It was like, they were like fashion paper books.
Oh, yes.
So she bought me a Padme Amidala paper book.
Oh my God.
With all her outfits, and you like take the tabs off and...
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I really liked the newer Star Wars Rey in it. Her hair,
cool.
like her hair, I kind of liked it.
See, I don't like the hair.
I like it. I liked the 3 buns and like just the like very interesting like.
It's something about it. Maybe if there were more, and usually I like things in 3s, so I'm like I don't know why.
I liked the 3
I think
buns.
It's her outfit I don't like her outfit.
She was like, I was really like trash bag. Like, I did not really fuck with her outfit or like her like being like a gray Jedi or whatever the fuck. That was kind of lame, honestly. But yeah, Star Wars is cool. So do you like movies? Are you into movies?
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
My one favorite movie?
You only have a favorite movie?
No, I don't have a favorite movie.
Oh, okay.
I've got several.
But what's like your number one? Like you would rather kill yourself in this movie, never be able to like be alive again.
Oh, Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned. Yeah, interesting. I
love Queen of the Damned. Like,
that's a very interesting choice.
I mean, like very in other end of the spectrum, Bring It On.
Oh, I love Bring It On.
I love
with the clovers.
Yes,
Bring It On with the clovers. Don't talk to me.
Yes.
I love Bring It On. I love the crumping one too.
Oh, that was the second one? Was that the second one?
I don't remember which one that was with. Is it Dakota Fanning? What's that girl's name? Ooh, I can't remember, but she's in it. And the crumping. I know they have one
with Solange and Hayden Panettiere.
Yes, that one is
the second one.
That's one with the clovers, I think.
Clovers,
oh no,
Clovers is the first one with the Toros, Kirsten Dunst, Gabrielle Union, and all of that.
Gabrielle Union, she was the clovers. Yeah, I liked the one with Panettiere and Solange. That's funny. Yeah. I love Bring It On. Bring It On's such a good.
I very much so love Bring It On.
Bring It On really made me realize that like women really aren't shit.
Oh, for sure.
Like women aren't shit.
Yeah.
And Bring It On made me like understand that like women are bitches. We really are mean.
Yeah. And
I was always like women empowerment, like brats and stuff. Yeah. But then Bring It On came on and I was like, oh no, I'd kill her. I'd do a backflip on her ass. Like really, I would.
A roundhouse twist or some shit.
No, for real.
On your neck.
Yeah, I will literally do a backflip, cartwheel, back handspring, back tuck on your ass. Okay. One thing about.
And you're gonna do the spirit fingers with it too.
Spirit fingers, and then land in a split. Try me again.
Damn,
No, I feel like if I try to do a split, I'd actually. I'd break something.
Would she break something?
I would break something.
Oh, no.
But it's episode 9 of Unstable Creatures podcast. I'm like, episode 9 of Unstable Creatures podcast, and we are sitting down with Harley, but Harley's not even really her name. But Miss Fashionista Queen. We absolutely tell everybody what your real name is.
My name is Kiara.
Gasp.
Yeah, Kiera. Accent mark over the E. That is on my birth certificate.
You have an accent mark?
Yes.
Oh, she's fancy.
Yeah.
She's rich.
My mom took French in high school, so she was all
Did she get pregnant in high school too?
No, she didn't.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Granted, she is a preacher's kid, so that is kind of on brand.
She's a preacher's kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. My whole side of my mom's family, like preachers, ministers, first wives, deacons.
That's crazy. I know whenever Julian told me that your name isn't Harley. I was in shock.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because she's Harley to me. If anybody harnesses the ability to be named Harley, it's her. Like, Harley's such a specific niche type of name.
It's an energy. Yeah.
I don't care what you say. Her name's Harley to me.
Well, and that's why I introduced myself as Harley, because it's like I've had people, I'll say, oh, my name's Kiara, you can call me Key.
Yeah.
The minute someone tries to call me Kiki and you don't know me, like, you're not family. Like, if you wanted to call me Kiki, you could totally call me Kiki. But like, if we weren't tight, like hey Kiki, like, get him. I'm like,
right.
Harley, you can call me Harley.
Yeah, I feel like Kiara also fits you too, but I think Harley fits you way more. Like, that's so your vibe.
Like, that's such a cool name. And I'm like, yeah, because I gave it to myself. My parents.
That's what he was saying. He said, no, she literally named herself that, like Harley Quinn. I said, love it.
Like, my mom's a cool mom. Like, she gave me
She
Kiara.
is?
Yeah, she's hella cool. Like, all my parents, like are cool.
They, like, didn't care if you, like, smoked weed and that type of cool, or, like, they just were very, like, open discussions.
Very open, like, always, like, encouraged me to be me, like, be my most, like, authentic self, which is why I am the way that I am. Like, my mom, she's a Virgo, but I think she's got some fire or air somewhere in her chart, because the day she found out that I smoked was because my little brother told on me, and I lived in New York at the time, and he got in trouble for smoking, and he's like, well, Kiara smokes. And she's like, Kiara, do you? And I was like, yeah. But she was like, yeah, you kind of have your shit together. So
that's true. Because honestly, one thing about, I hate to see people smoking weed that can't afford to smoke weed. Let me go ahead and say it. I'll say it, because something about somebody smoking weed that I know can't afford to smoke weed, it pisses me the fuck off.
Priorities.
Because I bought you lunch 2 days ago because you said you didn't have any money, and here you are rolling a blunt.
I know you're not asking me for bread, and you're blowing into.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know those little vapes aren't cheap.
I just gave you.
Right. Like, to me, it's like, if you're gonna smoke weed, like, be, like, responsible about it. Don't sit here and spend your money on, like, and don't get me wrong, I spend my money on stupid stuff. I mean,
totally, we all do.
My whole life is dumb shit that I buy, but, like, I just hate when people be smoking weed right in your face and then want to say something about some type of money. That shit just pisses me off. One thing about it. But that's cool. Having parents. So, like, whenever you have parents that are more, like, open and have those types of discussions with you, I feel like that changes a lot about who you are as a person.
Oh, yeah.
My parents definitely struggled with that. My parents weren't super, like, understanding of a lot of things, and of course, get as comfortable as show the shoes, honestly, period.
I was like, I want to lean back.
Yeah, no, like, and anybody watches all these episodes, there's so many people that are like, yeah, just fucking put your feet in the screen then already. I literally saw someone that was like, can you please use a table as a footrest? And I'm like, I'm watching videos, and I'm like, maybe my feet really are just like in the whole pod. Like, I'm literally just like putting my feet on people.
I was like, it's comfortable.
It's comfortable. Yeah, I don't care.
But I was like, knowing me, I'd be
up and down. I just be laying out. It's comfortable. But yeah, I think I went through like a phase probably in like 6th grade is whenever it started, of me like starting to kind of express myself in a different way. Yeah. As in like the way that I'm doing my makeup, like I really took to like the emo, Tumblr, like Sleeping with Sirens, Pierce the Hawthorne Heights, like type of vibe. I was very much like hair to the side, purple ends, borderline cutting myself because I was like, I'm depressed, you know what I mean?
Borderline. I was in the act.
I was in there. Yeah, I was in there. And so I went through that phase, and my parents were not open to that. Yeah. My dad would be like, you're not leaving the house looking like that. You look like a demon. No. So it's cool to hear people have like open parents that are a little more like, because my parents, they got that later on in life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think in a way, like my parents, like compared to their parents, they were, even more, quote unquote, somewhat extreme. Like my mom will say she was kind of like the rebel child. And I'm like, to think of my mom as a rebel child, I'm like, no, me and my brother, we are the rebel children.
I'll show you a rebel children.
Yeah, but in that side of my family, like I was saying earlier, like heavy Christian. And then my bio dad, he taught me about Wicca, taught me about witchcraft and Wiccanism and all of that. So that's where I had that openness to just learning and questioning beliefs and ideologies and things like that. So it's like, I don't feel like I have to be tied down or restricted to just any one way of thinking. Yeah. And then when I ended up taking philosophy, it kind of came back around tenfold, because it was like, oh, you're like, oh, I like this philosopher. Like, oh, Aristotle's saying some real shit. But Plato's saying, oh, and then you're like, and then it's like, you're like, well, don't get attached to these philosophers and just the ideology, but just don't get attached to anything. Like, it's healthy to like, be willing to deprogram yourself when you get new information, and that's what's going to reprogram you. And so that's why you're always evolving, always changing and shit like that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's Harley. Like,
I think it's always like, growing up, my parents, for a little while, we didn't go to church at all. There wasn't like church in our home, and we weren't really like churchgoers or anything. And then as I got a little bit older, my parents started to involve us into church as super heavily. And me and my sisters, we went to church every Sunday. They got baptized, and I got to watch that. I got baptized at like 12 or 13. I don't remember how old I was, but and time went on, and I kind of just, that became my life, but it wasn't something that I necessarily hated. It just wasn't something that I was like super into either. And I didn't really feel like, okay, this is me making that decision. It's really just like, this is kind of all I've known. So then once I kind of got to high school and was around people and, was in psychology and learning more about life and all the other possibilities and Hinduism and Buddhism and all these things that exist. And then I graduated high school, and that's when like really everything changed for me. And I kind of was like, you can be your own person, you can make your own beliefs, you can do all those things, and you can say what you want to say, you can believe what you want to believe, and it doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. And I have some parts of my family that are like super evangelical Christian, and then my parents are more like understanding and believe those things, but we are like a Christian family, and we are people that like believe in God, and we worship God, and that's what we do, and we praise God, but it's also not like our whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things, and I think that's a really cool thing to be able to grow into.
No, I agree.
It's important for people to really educate themselves and like form their own belief, and I can't I can't wait to have kids one day to be able to do that instead of the other way. You know what I mean? Like, I think it is difficult to kind of have that type of ideology and make it open, and I think it's cool. What did you go to college? What did you go to college for?
I went to Georgia Southern University, not too far from Savannah. So my first major is in fashion merchandising and apparel design. And then my second major was in Spanish and Spanish language and literature.
Spanish language. So do you speak fluent Spanish? Sick. Why did you do that?
Oh, well, I started learning Spanish like ever since I was in maybe like 4th or 5th grade. And so I was homeschooled.
I
know, I was homeschooled, homeschooled in a private Christian school by a Jamaican woman who bought an actual house in the area and homeschooled several of us. So like, I was like two of
I don't know if this sounds sketchy or like really cool.
Well, I know. So let me step back. So originally there was this larger school kind of called Maranatha. They're a Christian school. And they were in like an actual church building. It used to be a church or whatever. And so they had like the big building. It's actually off the street that I'm pointing to him, but that Drew that he grew up on.
Cool.
And
this is in Georgia.
Yeah, this is in Stone Mountain, Lithonia, Georgia. And when I got to, it was like 2nd grade, I had this teacher, and she didn't like the way that the principals were running it. And so she's like, I'm leaving, I'm doing my own thing. And so because several of the parents, mine included, liked the way that she did things and taught, we're like, we're going to go with you. And so we pretty much from 3rd to 5th grade, she was my teacher, and it was just like 7 or 8 of us in her class. At one point we had one 7th grader, one 8th grader. A class of like a 3rd grade class of maybe like 12, 13 children, and then like a little kindergarten class downstairs. And
did you like that? Like, do you feel like that helped you?
Well, I think it helped me in the sense of like going back to that questioning things and questioning ideologies. It's like, it's not like I didn't grow up around this stuff. It's like, I know, and it's given me a deeper appreciation for how to coexist when you have a different ideology or way of life. It's like I can still read the book of Psalms and find message and meaning in it. I may not want to be sent Bible verses necessarily, but on my own, like
But you look at it as like it's a beautiful thing, and it's something to. It is a book that can teach lessons and have something that is valuable
for anything, like any religion. Like when it's not radicalized in my thought process or perspective, I'm like, it can be beautiful, because I think I've come to understand and accept that people need this kind of spiritual structure. And so it's good for people who need like that guidance, that support, if they're not getting it from anywhere else.
And at the same time, like I I had a teacher back in high school, actually, and he got in a lot of trouble for this, but he was my literature teacher, and we were learning a bunch of books and reading books and writing papers and stuff, and he was like the first and only teacher that was like, you know what, we're gonna read the Bible. Yeah. We're gonna have a literature piece about the Bible, but it wasn't about religion. That was completely removed. It was about how the Bible is as a book of literature, and what is the meaning, and what's the art, and what is the essence and the history, and what is it trying to tell us, like from a literature aspect. And that really, because, you know, like I said, back then I was a Christian. We were going to church. I still am a Christian, but we were going to church, and you know, that was just, it was heavy in my life. Yeah. So I had never like stepped back and read the Bible from that perspective. Yeah. And it was super sick, and it really made me realize that it is a beautiful piece of art, and it really is something that we should be a little more sacred about and read and understand that there are beautiful, valuable lessons in it that are really you could take for the rest of your life, and you can die with and be a great sick person.
No, for sure.
And I think that's the most important thing. And you know, people who are super radical about religion or super evangelical, I never really understand. To me, like, people that really God is the center of their life and all it does is just make them a super sick, loving, forgiving person, who gives a shit? But if it makes you an ugly, hateful, nasty person, you've lost it. Like, you've lost everything.
Your energy is trash. It's tarnished, and there's no amount of religion or spirituality that should be able to cover up for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, give people grace, know that we're all imperfect and stuff like that, but it's just like, I'm going where the positive energy resides.
100%. I think that's what you have to do, dude. It's crazy. We got pastors over there just talking about how you're going to hell for eating bologna or something weird as fuck. Like, they're so crazy. No,
it's wild. And when you have friends, like I'm the friend that's not a Christian, you know, like I got shakabuku'd into the Nichiren Buddhism.
Shakabuku'd?
Yeah, so.
What's shakabuku?
So it's pretty much like your.
It sounds like Mama Odie from. What did Mama Odie do?
Almost like an initiation, so to speak. But within Buddhism, and Buddhism isn't someone you don't worship Buddha or anything like that.
It's a beautiful religion too. I learned about Buddhism.
And philosophy really for me. And so like when I lived in New York and I worked at Club Monaco for about 2 years at the corporate office, I met this really, really cool guy, Enrique, and he was like, I was like, yeah, I fuck with Buddhism. Like, you know, just off the strength of reading about it and, you know, having a
really
basic
beautiful
understanding. And he's like, you know, you should come with me to one of my meetings. And when things start to get real organized and groupy, I'm like, I'm cool with being a soul practitioner, like, you know, just follow my spiritual path. And
it's giving Jared Leto, giving Cole, giving 30 Seconds to Mars type
so
shit.
I was a little on the fence, you know, I was just kind of like, I don't, you know, but I was like, let me just see, because I'd rather be in those spaces just to observe, and, you know, I'm not eating the brownies or anything. But,
oh, hell no. Yeah.
But it was cool, and so it showed me that, again, just going back to, like, people need like that fellowship, and that's like what church is, that's what mosque, you know, synagogue, you know, all of that. It's the same thing, like that fellowship and having that community. And it's kind of been like a recurring lesson or idea for me. It's like, when I was in fashion school for fashion, community, you build a community.
And it's important. I mean, we're really not meant to go through life alone. So if you can get some type of connection with people in any way, shape, or form, whether it's, you know, comedy, music, religion, whatever, fashion, any of those things, it's something that's sick, and it's something that we need. One thing I appreciated about Buddhism that I learned about was the belief in the power of the mind is so sick. And like the education that they provide people with how strong you are mentally, and getting yourself to the point where you genuinely can control everything about yourself. You can control your anger, you can control your emotions, your peace, your patience, your sleep, your hunger. You can control everything. Pain, stress, anxiety, all of it. It's in your control. Dude. And I think that is so scary. Like, I remember watching a whole documentary, and I was reading this book about this monk that like went on this whole, he was dealing with depression. His wife died, and he was dealing with really bad depression and suicidal thoughts and all of that stuff. And I really appreciate religion that talks about real shit. Like, not just hookuduku dumb shit about, oh, somebody lied, or I'm not very forgiving, I'm struggling with forgiveness.
Don't be gay.
No, dude, like, I want to talk about, like, how people want to blow their brains out and they had to watch their sister die in a car accident. Or
dealing with the weight of life.
The weight of life and just having shitty parents or, getting abused as a kid, like, real stuff that happens. And he, his wife passed away unexpectedly and he was dealing with suicidal thoughts and depression and all those things. And he went through, a part where he didn't believe in Buddhism anymore, and he didn't believe in himself, and he lost his way, was drinking and all this stuff, and then he went on this journey and with another, I guess, monk leader, I don't really know. Sorry, that's all they're calling Buddha himself. I don't really know, but he went on a walk with this bald Asian man up this hill, and he was talking about how strong his mind is. And then he went on days and days and was really focusing on meditating. And he got up to like 5 hours of meditation a day, and like depression gone.
It's amazing.
It's wild. It's so
amazing.
Crazy.
And I've been meditating and that's why like these things have like just, I've been drawn to them. So my bio dad, his name is Ari, but that's his third legal name. That his bio name is Kevin. That's why my mom named me Kiara, because her name is Adrian. So my brother, his name is Armand. So she got AA.
Oh, okay.
And his name at the time of my birth was Kevin.
Okay.
So my name was Kiara.
So at the time of your birth, what do you mean?
His birth. At my birth, his name was Kevin when I was born.
Oh, wait, so they're trans?
He legally changed no, he's not trans. He legally changed.
He just wanted a different name?
Yeah, he went through a few spiritual like revolutions throughout his life, and so he changed his name the first time to Nabi Anuwadio, which is an indigenous name. Yeah.
Okay.
We have indigenous ancestry, and so he was connected to that, and then he decided to change it again. So now he's Ari Meyer. So that's my dad.
I honestly love that. I love that someone named Kevin was like, you know what? I just don't want to be this anymore.
I mean, but
I'm changing who I am.
Like, we all have that power. So it's like when you have examples of that throughout your life, like my parents have always, in reason and within what they control, have always shown me that you can really control a good chunk of your life. Based off the decisions, based off pure will and, believing in yourself. And so, it looks, people say, what's his name this time? I might talk to a family, you're like, what's his name? And I'm like, oh, sorry. But at any rate, he taught me about yoga and meditation. Like we hang out in these circles in like Atlanta growing up, and he'd take me with his friends and they're like just jamming out, playing music, doing spoken word, and we're meditating. So it's like I've had that instilled in me for so long, but it was kind of that same thing. People probably don't think about it on the flip side. Like I'm like, do I really believe in this, or am I just doing this because I grew up doing this, and really getting older and learning about like the benefits of not just meditation but mindfulness and how that extends to so many other areas of our lives. Taking that pause to breathe before you react. And that's literally what me and my therapist are working on right now, because I struggle with that bad. One thing about me, I'll punch somebody before I take a breath. I'll literally call somebody's mother and tell them how much of a piece of shit they are before I take a breath. See, I'll
pick up a car and throw it at someone.
I have those moments. I was talking to my best friend last night. We were talking for 6 hours, and we were talking about something. I was just like, I can say some impulsive things. Like if I'm just like there, and I'm like, no, I feel very within my right, like very.
Yeah. I feel within my right to call you a bitch ass, fat ass motherfucker.
And that's what it is, you know? And it's not always the great thing to do, especially if you're like, this is kind of getting me in a character, in an energy that I don't want to dwell in, I don't want to be in. Kind of like how somebody will say, oh, I feel a little dirty after watching porn.
Yes.
That type of thing.
It's like the guilt starts to set in. Like,
you're like, I know who I am, so. But after really, really investigating and just trying out different things, reading about different theologies and spiritual ideologies, I was like, this is a thing for me. Philosophically, likewise, I love Stoicism because it has so much overlap with Buddhism, like you were saying, like that patience and thinking, just really being in tune with yourself and in tune with like your mind. I think my hands are red because of my hair. But it's okay.
Oh, that's happened to me every time I dye my hair. Yeah, I literally have purple hair.
My fingers look so pink. But
yes. Right, it's fine. The hair is giving. We love it's like very much like luscious Chucky. Like
Luscious Chucky.
We love Miss Chucky girl.
We love a little luscious Chucky. Yes.
We love Chucky.
But yeah, and so that's like getting older, and I'm like, what's my contribution to society? Like,
yeah, dude, that's so scary, right?
As a human, as an artist, and
it scares the fuck out of me.
And people are like, I don't have a purpose, and I'm like, you give yourself a purpose. I don't think when we're first born, it's like we're not even thinking about that, right? We're just trying to grow and thrive, and our parents are trying to keep us alive for the first year, 5 years, 7, 18 years of our lives, So it's like, but once you're able to consciously and just really be tapped in, like it's a superpower.
Yeah,
that's what I can say. It's like being able to think before you react and breathe before you react. It is a superpower. That's why laws had to be made, because way back when the cave, all of our ancestors were just clubbing each other left and fucking right. They're like, you killed somebody I fuck with, and I don't like that.
One thing about me, I would go back to that in a heartbeat.
You drug my bitch out that cave.
I think we should go back to when we used to stone people to death.
Now I'd
go back to stoning people to death.
I'm a fan of the guillotine, quite honestly. So
just get it over with.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing about it, I think we should go back to stoning people to absolute death.
In the little whatever I can't
get
remember
them. When they had to like stay in that. Yeah, I'd do that to so many people.
I'm a fan. We probably wouldn't have a lot of rapists and pedophiles out here.
Just lock them up.
I mean, personally, my suggestion for rapists and pedophiles is that they walk the plank into an active volcano.
Walking a plank has to be so embarrassing.
That is
like, how like they used to like put their hands behind their back and have to walk the plank on a pirate ship. I would literally kill myself.
That is like,
you'd never catch me walking a plank.
If I could suggest that to the
walk
legal
the plank.
people, walk the plank. I mean,
no, seriously.
Take them to Yellowstone or whatever.
Get them out there.
And
take them to Skinwalker Ranch.
Hawaii or something. Yeah. No, don't take them to Hawaii, because that's going to seem like, fun time vacation.
No, take them to where all the Skinwalkers are at. Just take them out there where Bigfoot and Loch Ness are. Take them out there. They got to walk the plank. Yeah. One thing about walk the plank.
They got to walk the fucking naked.
Butt naked, booty butt.
Don't.
Oh my God, did you watch Mike Tyson last night, the fight? Did you see his ass? I'm inserting a picture in the corner.
No.
This man is so caked up. I was watching the rest of the fight. I couldn't focus.
No, seriously.
I just kept having flashbacks of his ass.
Because he was walking around, so just like walking.
Didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, chaps out.
He looks like Plankton from SpongeBob, like behind. You know what I mean? Like, how Plankton is like very much in one shape? Yeah. That's what he was giving.
I kept having flashbacks to that throughout the fight.
And I love, because I was literally at a restaurant and we're all watching it and the whole room just gasped.
Damn, so
when that came on the screen. Gasped. It was just up there, like a big black ass. It's just everyone, like I'm trying to eat my teriyaki wings with cheese fries, and I just see Mike Tyson's caked up with a thong on.
See, and being in the bubble of social media, like we're watching
this, thong?
Yeah, we're watching this on TV at home, and Netflix was all fucked up and everything. So I'm not even thinking about people in public.
Right, watching
I'm thinking about just people at home.
Yes.
Not, because we're like, there are children watching this Netflix.
There were so many people there, and everyone just gasped.
The cameraman, camera person,
the way he said
they had a different agenda.
I wonder if someone was like, dude, we'll pay you $20,000 to get an ass shot of Mike Tyson. Just one real quick.
I'd do it.
And he said,
I do it.
I would 100% do it.
Yeah.
I would 100%. I honestly probably would go up to Mike Tyson and be like, hey, I got offered $20,000 to get your behind. So if we'll cut it in half, maybe you want to turn over real quick 2 seconds.
No, yeah. And he did it.
And he said.
Yeah. He was down I would have
done the same thing.
He was down honestly, with the sickness.
No, that was so crazy. Yeah, I think, honestly, the cameraman should have walked the plank for that.
Who did you think was going to win?
I knew Jake Paul was going to win.
Yeah.
But the rest of my body and mind and soul wanted Mike Tyson to win. Yeah, but I knew he wasn't going to.
Off nostalgia, yeah.
Off nostalgia, and it's like, we all know that if Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson in his prime, he would have gotten annihilated. We all know that. We all know that Mike Tyson's 60 goddamn years old.
Yeah.
He didn't stand a chance, but at the same time, it's fucking Mike Tyson. So, like, I was just telling Jake, I was like, at the end of the day, like, whether you win or lose, as someone that is a professional boxer, wants to be a professional boxer, and boxing is their life, getting in the ring with fucking Mike Tyson is like dream come true. You know what I mean? So like, if I was in that situation, I would just pretend like, hey, we'll just go these cute little 12 rounds, but I just wanted to like
I'm
have
happy
this.
they lasted like
like who cares? I didn't want anybody to get knocked out. Like
when Mike came out and he low key tripped.
I
don't know if anybody saw. I was like, no.
He's kind of giving Biden. He's moving like Biden.
I was just like, no. I was like, this is not good foreshadowing. Like
no, and then like by like round 2, you could tell he was just like, ooh.
Yeah, so
he honestly looked like me in the morning. Like if I haven't like eaten in a couple days, that's literally what I look like. I can't. When I haven't had like a good meal in a couple days, I've just been eating like ramen and like some like a girl dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I look after a couple days of doing that.
Fuck yeah.
And I mean, a little cigarette, something like that would have got me there. That's crazy. I can't. Yeah, I'm glad that it happened, though. I think it's cool. So you are into fashion. Fashion's your thing. I think anybody that thinks of you definitely thinks of, like, fashionies. It's giving very much Jade from Bratz.
Hello.
You literally remind me of Jade from Bratz. Like, I love whenever she would, like, wear, like, a stupid little outfit, and then her parents would, like, drop her off of school, and she goes in the bathroom and is, like...
I love
and he's wearing something so cute. Yeah. You remind me of her.
Bratz is that shit. Yeah.
Iconic.
I love fashion.
What made you like decide to go to school for that or like do any of that stuff?
So there are like so I mentioned earlier like the Padme Star Wars book. So just all these different things like have just, added up. So like growing up my mom's mom and dad, they had a fashion boutique.
Oh, okay.
In Rockford, Illinois, called A Touch of Fashion.
So
and
cute.
I don't believe these were items that like my grandmother was making, but she is a seamstress or sewist.
Okay.
And so I think it's how they get like wholesale dresses and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they kind of like alter them a little bit, do a little something to them.
And them being in the church community, people aren't playing around with their hats. They're not playing around.
Honey, Sunday best, they don't play around.
Hello, their skirts. So like my brother and I,
especially in Black culture, y'all be putting that shit on for the city.
Seriously, like it's
gorgeous.
Like, come on, are you really trying to get talked about? Because
down.
Yeah. And so we usually go up there like every summer growing up and just kind of hang out in the shop, like in the back.
Yeah.
And watching like Beetleborgs on this little tiny TV and Power Rangers and shit. And so like just being around clothes, being around apparel, I've always been interested in fashion and making clothes.
Yeah.
And so I've been drawing and creating art like I was probably like drawing on the inside of my placenta bag in the womb. Like I probably was creating works of art inside of
on the placenta. No, literally.
Womb, and it's gone forever. That could have sold for millions.
But
anyway, so to exaggerate, I've been doing art and creating for a long time. So I had started first drawing like fashion, or just when I'm drawing sketches, like I would
the clothes
scenes, or drawing someone, and I always have paid attention to the clothing, like every detail.
Yeah.
And as I got older, like my mom, my dad, because my mom I have a mom, stepdad, but he's my dad. They were married in '98, so that's my dad.
Your biological dad is what you mean.
So if I say dad, I'm talking about Carly. If I say bio dad, I'm talking about Ari.
The one that's changed his name.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And so like all of my parents just have always like encouraged me, and my mom, she's always been pretty stylish growing up, so she knows how to dress. Yeah, she knows how to dress. I've always had really cute outfits growing up, and so I learned that I had an attachment to clothes and that I love clothes. Barbies out the ass. And then when I started to deconstruct my Barbie clothes,
like you cut them up and make them your own.
Taking apart, trying to make new stuff. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
When you're making metallic twist tie necklaces from a bread twist tie.
Oh, Perry, she has a choker on.
She has on.
Why is your Barbie dressed in BDSM?
Okay, I mean, that is a precursor, but
I love it.
At the very least. So again, just all these things that have added up. And then it's funny, like as we've gotten older and being on social media and you see all the nostalgic things that come up and people are talking about, like Moesha and That's a Raven. And like at one point, Jill and I went back and rewatched Moesha and I'm like, this bitch was like she sold. She was
she
into
did.
fashion, yeah. That's a Raven into fashion.
Oh, she was,
she was that girl. You know what I mean?
She was that girl.
Again, like looking back at some of my favorite shows and just some of the, I did which every once in a while I bother my family about in Illinois. I'm like, can y'all find those photos? Because I modeled in a show when I was like 6 or 7 during one of the summers I was in Illinois. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
These are one of those things where now I can, look, I've been in this space. But I'm like, they're like, I think it's out in the shed. And I'm like, I need someone to find
especially like whenever you get famous or like blow up for fashion, then you can like literally show those on your like discography.
Hello.
I was born. I was born with that shit the fuck on.
Something like sometimes some things are like, where people are like, oh, this child is an old soul, or you're like, oh, like some people are just born with that energy. Like they're either meant to entertain, they're meant to be in this kind of space, and if it's fostered. I
wish I got told that. My parents got told like she has something fucking wrong with her. I mean, you hit her a little too hard one time.
Oh no,
she has ADHD. Something's fucking her head.
I wonder sometimes because the type of stuff that I see online, and I'm like, I do this. Like, is this just normal stuff?
No, it's really not. Like, I literally something's wrong.
Yeah, damn.
What's like a celebrity or someone that's like famous that you like really look up to their fashion and like how they dress? They don't have to necessarily be a fashion person, but like whoever designs their clothes or the way they dress that you really love, dead or alive, anybody.
Okay, I was gonna say like I know my first initial influence was definitely Aaliyah.
Oh
yeah,
love her.
Bar none. Aaliyah. Lisa,
she died too soon.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what you're talking about.
No, for real. I need somebody. Tell me how that somebody. Ooh, baby girl. I'm the man from the big beat.
Okay. And so her, tomboy style that like has like been a staple for generations and generations.
Yes.
Lynn from the TV show Girlfriend, she had a really bohemian look.
Okay.
Who else? Lisa Bonet.
Yes.
So like that's like
Miss
a lot
Bra.
of Erykah Badu. Like Erykah
Badu is so beautiful. Yeah.
I feel like I have so many influences. Tori Amos. Like and these are also like musical influences too, because I'm realizing.
Yeah, but it's like their whole vibe though.
Yeah.
It's like music is their thing, but like it's the way they look and like present themselves, especially because they're on stage, so they have a certain look, and that's fashion. You know what I mean? Like that's part of it. So, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's like I'm trying to think like. I don't think there's just really one person where
it's a bunch,
yeah, it's just like a combination.
Well, even like all the people that you named, like that time era, there was so much going on that like really blossomed into things that are still exist today and things that people are still trying to achieve and get those looks and the type of clothing and color scheme and fit and all that stuff is very like it's coming back for sure, and that time era was so iconic for that music and fashion. Like it was like both were locked in.
Everything happens in a cycle.
Yeah, definitely. I really love how people dressed in like the 50s and 60s. Those are my favorite. So like definitely like greaser type of vibe. I love that, especially men, the way that men dress. But women, like I just loved that type of like vibe. I think that was so cute. If I could be born, well, maybe I probably wouldn't go back to that.
I was like, you're post.
I don't know about that.
Post-war mod.
I don't know if I'd be on the side that I am thinking I'm gonna be on.
Neither of us.
Yeah, we would have been kicked out.
I mean, we may have had some success, or across the world. Like you have artists.
Yeah, like honestly, I'd just go to Mexico and fit in. You know what I mean?
I'd probably go to Spain. Quite honestly.
That's the thing with me though, is I feel like I'm too Mexican to go to Spain. Because it's like I'm both. I am Spanish and I am Mexican and Portuguese. You know what I mean? So like I could, but like I don't know if they'd let me pass, dude. Because it's like I don't know. I think I'm just a little bit too Mexican for that.
It's like you're like I'm too close to it. My DNA test, I got 1% Iberian. So
Iberian?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, whoever holding it down.
Keep it in there.
One thing about I can roll my R's. That's where that came from.
Yeah, mine literally said like 2.5, like Asian or something, or like Chinese. I said, oh hell no, don't do that to me. I can't remember. There was like so many different ones because like with being Hispanic on both sides and European, it's very like, who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Even
it's just,
that, you gotta take
there's
it
a
with a
mud.
grain
Like,
of
you're
salt,
everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, my family just be fucking people all over the world.
No,
they just be making kids all over the
honestly,
damn
when
place.
I learned about my genetic breakdown from my bio dad's mom, like ever since I was in middle school, and she told us we had Scotch Irish ancestry, and I was like, I'm multiracial.
Multiracial.
Yeah.
What about a mix?
Yeah, I was like, I'm mixed. I was like,
I'm mixed.
I think the one drop rule is stupid.
Yeah.
Because it is. And I was like, I'm multi. So literally growing up, from that moment she told me that, on like standardized tests, you know, where it asks like the race breakdown, I always put multi.
I put other, all.
Yeah.
I literally mark other and I put all,
Yeah.
or then I'll put like an animal. I'll do like whale, beluga. Like, I'll just do something crazy.
Rooster.
And then literally, I would just do anything. And they'd be like, that's not a valid answer. I said, and neither is you asking me the question.
Oh my,
I'm like,
okay.
one thing about it, what is it your business? Because I don't know what I am. One thing about it. And I remember one time I was at school, I think we were probably in like 9th or 10th grade. So we were like old enough to understand race and all that stuff. And I literally had this girl who barely even knew me. She literally taps me on the shoulder and goes, I don't want to be rude asking you this. And I said, okay, what's going on? She goes, which one of your parents is black? I said, you know what's crazy about that? I actually do not know the answer to that. I'm going to go home tonight. And I'm going to ask. And then tomorrow, I'll let you know because I really don't know.
Oh my God.
I go home and I'm like, hey, I had somebody ask me like, which one of you guys are black?
Don't you
so
love that?
go ahead and out yourself. Which one is it?
It's funny because to me, like, I'm really big into race ideology and classification because I believe in like what's called deracialization, where
I think I've heard that term before.
Yeah, so it's like I don't really focus on calling people white or black. I know the society we live in at this point, like those are the terms, but there was a point where we didn't use those terms.
Yeah,
you know,
there was a term where like if you said a black person or a black culture, it was like, ugh, you don't say that.
When I first studied abroad in Spain, I wasn't called negrita, nothing like negra. It was like, where are you from? And they thought I was from everywhere else that usually has, like brown people or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm from Estados Unidos. And they're like, you're like Americana? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, because there you're just American.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really, because I went to Spain for like 2 weeks last year, a little over 2 weeks, but I was there for a while, and my family is all from Spain. Like, my mom was born in Madrid.
Nice.
They used to live there. My grandma's family, my mom's family, they all live in different parts of Spain, and so that was cool to see, and it is very, very different than here, and nobody addresses you by like color. It's just like what is your nationality is what they're asking. It's not what's your race, what is your nationality.
And it's like that's one of those things you have to like, you can only experience that when you're submersed in another culture, and that's like it's not like everyone's just putting on, but it gives you insight to like the programming and how things have transpired here, because of slavery and Jim Crow and all of that. And so I think race ideology in and of itself is racist because that's how it kind of started out.
Yeah, because it's meant to separate.
It's meant
you know
to
what
separate.
I mean? It's not meant... And I'm one of those people that's like, this is going to sound so fucked up. Let me explain myself. I believe in separation.
Yeah.
And I believe that we should not mix, like, education-wise, because that is not fair.
Yeah.
I think Black culture, Asian culture, Hispanic culture, white, whatever the fuck you guys do, culture, it deserves its own entity and deserves its own space and its own education and its own thing. I'm not meaning physically separate. I'm meaning like mentally separate. I do believe we should address Black culture and Black music and Black art and all those things, and we should address Asian and Hispanic and Mexican, and all those should be separate because they never were. You know what I mean? It was always just white only or European only. It's never been anything else. So I believe in the separation and independence and having the education and all of that. But I do believe that there's a line, of course, that has been way crossed that causes it to be so separate that it is racist, because it's like, why can't it just be this? Why does it have to be a Black whatever? Why does it have to be Asian this? But I think that's important. I believe in the term Black owned business. I believe in the term Asian owned business. Like, I believe in that shit because we didn't have that. It was always like white people with everything. And so now I agree with the separation, and I agree with the independence of it, because it's crucial.
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying. Like me I definitely like celebrating like the differences across humanity. For sure. But I think after a while, like, it makes sense, because you're gonna have subcultures, like whether it's religion, color, whatever, ethnicity. You know, you got people from the islands, different countries, and so we all create like these little subcultures. Hell, if you like pineapples on pizza, that's its own little you know, thing.
I do.
I get weary of identity, like labeling, because things can be loaded. And so, like, it can seem weird. Someone may think it's weird if I don't identify one as black, or if I don't identify as black owned, because people can have, or even just women owned. I get it, but I'm like, I'm the face of my company, of my business. So you see me. You see that I'm a black woman. You see me. You see that I'm a brown woman, and you see that I operate. In this, you know, and I don't think I have to go above and beyond to
have like the labels and stuff.
To exist. And so that's why, like, one of my like frequently used tags is that I'm a multifaceted artist, not obsessed with labels. Because labels there's a pro and con to having labels. You can have all that history, which is kind of how they're supposed to work. You have all this history that's embedded in that label. Your identity ties back to who you are and how you navigate, how you see yourself, and how other people see yourself. But like going back to the conversation of when you're in Spain and you're talking to people on like that individual to individual basis, and no one's just like this broad judgment. I think kind of dialing it back on labels, which is why I'm so into deracialization and all that. Is because it almost forces you to just really interact with people as individuals, and I say, oh, you're a Latina or you're a Hispanic chick. Now I have all this programming that I don't want to really have programmed, and I may have to fight against, you know, assuming like, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? Just because of the media. And that's like, you know, what media does. Like, oh, because, you know, I've seen people talk about like when they go to China, and they're like, oh, I was the darkest or tallest person there, and they want to touch your hair, or they look at you. Like my parents, they went to Tokyo, they were there for like a week or so, or 2 weeks or whatever. And they're like, yeah, people are just looking at dad because he's tall, and you know. But that goes back to understanding like homogenous societies. That's true. Know, it's true. It's a whole thing. And so like even when you know, the whole trope of like all black people don't look the same, you know, that type of thing. And then people have done kind of like reverse experiments where they're like, oh, do these two white people look the same? They're like, yeah. And they're like, these are two different people. And it's just like, if you're surrounded by people who look like you majority of the time, like a homogenous society, you're able to actually see features a bit more distinctly different from, you know, I'm not gonna get Matt and
Noah.
I was like, who? And I thought about the one person with hair, the one person that's bald. I'm not gonna get Matt and Noah confused or anything like that. You know? And so that's why I think it's important to, I don't know if I would use the word separate, but have like a distinction, or just appreciate like that distinction of the different cultures. And we can still come together and learn from each other and like celebrate culturally, because I believe in mixing. I'm heavy in that.
Well, I believe that too, but I like in the education part, I mean, like I like that there's a separation, but mixing is also important too. Like that's the separation was the whole point, to help the mixing, if that makes sense.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
To really like set yourself and see like we don't need to depend on the dominant group or the group that has oppressed the minorities. But
the whole point of all of it is to mix together, you know what I mean? Like everyone be equal. That's the whole point. That's what everybody wants.
Well,
not everybody, but
that's true.
That's what.
But no, I got you. But that's cool, and that's what I want to be a part of, and like I celebrate everybody. I accept just about everybody as long as you're not a dickhead.
100%. I think that's also really important. I think it's also important for women, brown women like you and me and those types of things to also have that opinion too, because we're so like expected to think one way, which is like the very like, you know, Kamala Waltz and the super democratic, super, you know, liberal, hardcore, all that stuff. We are like expected or assumed to think like that, and I think that it's cool to see someone that is in the middle
Yeah.
about a lot of it, because I'm not on one extreme or the other at all.
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards one way, but it's also like, I think that there is too much mumbo jumbo and there is too much labeling, and people are focusing on things that really aren't necessarily the important part of it.
It's about a balance, because I used to be kind of extreme, like on Twitter, like not extreme, but just like, I hate labels, you know, all that, just because of all, you know, again, like that expectation of, you look like this, I'm going to expect you to be into this, I'm going to expect you to think this way. And then on the same side, people say, oh, well, this group of people, they're not a monolith. But then if you really have a very, very, I say that I'm in the minority of the minority of the minority.
Yes.
That's what I say. I'm a woman, I'm socially labeled a black woman. So it's like, I'm already, and then I'm a socially labeled black woman that doesn't really believe in certain labels to move forward. Like, the reason why I don't super care to identify as a black owned business, because there are people who will only support you because you have that label.
100%.
My thing is, I want you to see my art. I want you to see my work first before any and everything else. I do not want to be supported. Like, people, you know, like, we have these conversations, like, I'm like, if people want to support me because they want to support, you know, someone who looks like them, and that's cool.
Of course. But support is support at the end of the day.
Support, right? But the thing is, I still, like, it's my art, and I am my art. You know what I mean? And I want people to be drawn to my art. I want you to believe in whatever my mission is, whatever my message is. And not that you have to agree 100% with everything I say or do, but if you're, you know, if you get it.
Yeah, you know, if you get it, then you get it. And I think, like, with art, too, it's like, I don't even think you need those labels, because people, like, dude, have you seen some of the people that fucking do this art? Have you seen the art that they're putting out? It's like a black line on a white canvas, and the guy has fucking Down syndrome and no legs. And it's like, nobody knows. They don't give a fuck what you look like. Like, it's art. You know what I mean? Like, they got people looking all kinds of crazy.
And I'll say one of the things that empowered me in that thinking is Basquiat. He's one of my favorite artists. And just reading about his story and just reading some of his interviews and some of his quotes, he kind of says he has a similar sentiment. Like, I'm like, my art is not.
He's not like labeling himself.
You know, it's like, it's art. My art is not black art. My art is art. You know, and that's pretty much how I navigate. Like, sometimes I cringe, people like, white people music, black people music, and I'm like,
it's just music, right?
Music. And I get it. Like, you'll say, well, you wouldn't say it's just like, because we label things. Like, when I understand the power of labeling. Like, it's funny, we had this whole conversation about language and communication, right? He's like, you know, languages, and we were talking about Latin, and, like, you know, if you can kind of speak French a little bit or speak Spanish, you can maybe understand Portuguese or Italian.
It helps you in other ways,
or it was something else, and these people on Reddit were like, we're teaching our children Latin, and then we're going to teach them French. And he was like, I feel like you should just teach them the living language that's
which is Spanish today. Just teach them Spanish.
Something like that. And I was like,
quit trying to be fancy, bro.
And I was like, I get it. I was like, but Latin is a dead language, and no one really
it literally doesn't serve you any purpose. I can't stand when people are like, oh, I want to learn Latin. For what,
like,
bro?
Unless you're going into the medical field. And I took 3 semesters of Latin, and I will say it helped improve my French, my Spanish, Italian learning, and just and understand. Like, I really love linguistics and just that whole thing. And so this ties back into labeling, because labeling is a part of communication. You know
exactly.
It's a part of communication. And so he was just like, you know, we start going. I was like, well, if you think about it, you know, somebody was like, you know, how do we go from to that? Pass me that shit, you know, like, just over thousands of years. And again, I'm all about.
And now you got people saying crazy shit.
Anything and everything.
Who fucking knows? I don't even know.
Anything and everything. And that's where I've come to embrace the.
Julie getting ready to beat somebody up. Like, the fuck? He over there doing some type of yoga.
That's where I've come to.
He about to bust in a split, huh?
That's why I've come to, like, embrace the relevance of labels. But, like, with anything, I think there's always a balance that can be had, because you can go so far off on the other end where, like you were saying, like, because you're this and you're that, I think, like, why would you believe in this if you're this, if you look this way or if you are this way?
Yeah.
And I think that forces people to actually have sit down conversations and speak with people and I think people need more individual conversations, like whether you're in an Uber, which is why sometimes I cringe when people are like, oh, my Uber driver, I said I want a quiet ride. Now I get it. Everybody's not talkative. I get it. But like we were saying, like, we're yappers in the beginning.
Oh, 100%. One thing about me, I want to yap.
I've learned so much from...
Tell me everything.
The 4 years that I lived in New York, I had an Uber driver who was from Mali. Yeah. He asked me if I had Mali ancestry. Turns out I did. Like, for the DNA test, and we had a whole conversation. I had a Turkish driver one time, driver, and just learning about people's stories. Yeah.
It's honestly, like, it's crazy that you're saying that, because that's really essentially, like, why I started the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it helps with comedy, and it's all those things, and it's silly, goofy, but, like, that is at the very core part of it. Yeah. That's why I want it, because I want to know why people are the way that they are. Like, I had no idea that you were homeschooled or, studied abroad or any of that stuff. People wouldn't know that, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, that's her. But at the same time, like, I think it's so important to have that education and why people are the way that they are. And like, I'm the same exact way. Like, if my Uber driver's quiet, I'll hop out of the fucking car. Like, tell me, is your mom okay? Where are you from? What is your favorite food to eat? I want to know everything.
Well, how long have you been driving?
How long have you been driving? Where are you
from? In school? Oh, okay.
What mental illnesses have you been diagnosed with? When was the last time you got your general checkup?
Your pap smear.
When was the last time you got a pap smear? And what is your favorite type of juice?
3 cats?
Tell me.
What kind of litter do they use?
What kind of litter do they use? Where did you get them from?
Okay, their shit is green.
If I opened up your trash can right now, what would I see?
Take them to the vet.
Take them to the vet. Yeah. I need to know. Mm-hmm. That's so crazy.
That's what I love talking to people about. Like, I don't... Sometimes...
You're like, why is there a brown stain on your pants? Yeah. Where did you get that from? What did you have for lunch? Like, no, seriously.
What did you eat for lunch?
What did you eat for lunch besides that fucking outfit? Ate the house down. Like, no, so serious.
But, so it's cool. And, I've had these conversations in public with friends that I went to school with, like, on Twitter. And they also have helped me, because it's like... It's kind of like that, I don't want to say it's like Delulu, but kind of like...
I love it.
A utopian, kind of way of... Like, okay, I have to understand this is the way life is, and these labels evolved this way for a reason. Yeah. This is the language that we use to communicate our identity, but I still think it's okay to analyze that. Like, even just thinking about the racial identity term Black. It's gone through so many transitions, because guess what? My favorite part about labels is that you can choose what you want to be identified as. Yeah. You can, as far as like the racial and, like, we went from being...
So how do you feel about the N-word?
Like negro or nigga?
Well, I can't say either of those. I'm meaning the second one. Like, how do you feel about people saying that? Like, that aren't Black?
No, that would get me canceled. But the thing is, I mean, I've said this on Twitter too. Like, if I'm at a rap concert, specifically, I was at a J. Cole concert in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, and I mean, there are people of all ethnicities and racial,
that are about to say it.
And I'm just kind of like, my thing is, if we don't want anybody to say it, I'm not really sold on the idea of taking the power back and everything like that, because if we're gonna have context when we're rapping it, if you're rapping it just the same way and you're not saying it in a malicious way, then why is it different when this other and I've had this conversation with people on Twitter.
We need to make sure we tag Noah in this, so he's like, oh, I can say it.
No, I'm not giving anyone permission. Like, if you get your ass beat, you get your ass beat.
Right? No, for real. Yeah,
it's not open season, but like I'm not gonna.
You're not someone that's like super gonna read into the context and then you don't believe in cancel culture and that sort of thing.
I don't. And if it's like malicious, like, sure. If it sounds like you never say this word and you're trying to say it, then that's a little weird. But I mean, there are hood white people who are way more hood than me, who have grown up in those circles,
and you like don't think about it.
And those people in those circles, they're cool with them saying it. Like, someone has earned street cred.
I just can't. Like,
but
I don't know.
Get it. I get it.
It's not necessarily that like I think that person's like trying to hurt anybody. I don't think it's necessarily that always.
It's like a
sometimes it is, but I think it's just more, it's just like respect. And it's just, it's awkward. Like, it's a
Yeah.
little weird to me. I don't
like,
know.
I
Because
get
I grew up somewhere where, like, if you said that, you're saying it out of hatred.
Hey, right.
Like, it isn't like my parents were like, you do not
Yeah.
fucking say that. We don't play around like that in our
Yeah.
house. You'll never say that. That's not what you do. You don't say wetback. You don't make jokes like that.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, my dad was very much like, that shit's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not cute. It's not youngster
Yeah.
jokes. It's so serious, and you better not ever talk like that. And so that's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And like the white people that I grew up around that said it was like not to play around. Like, it was like for real.
and that's
you know what I mean?
That's
So it's
the
like
context. Yeah.
I grew up where that is like, that's a bad.
You're like that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
I mean, to anybody, a lot of people, if you're not black or feel like that you've earned the right to say it, or I think for some people it's just if you're not black, like
Yeah.
you can't say it. Period.
It's just weird. Like, it's just weird.
Even within like the black community, like there are people who like I don't like the word, and even I've kind of reduced saying it like online because I used to say it a lot, like
Really?
on Twitter. Like it's, I mean, I said a lot of other stuff too on Twitter. Deleted tweets.
Yeah,
you
one thing
know?
about me, whenever the public found my Reddit, I said, "Oh, we've got to delete that account because ooh."
No, yeah, and it's funny because even with the perspective that I have, that's what I'm saying. Like being at a concert, I'm not about to fight 1,500 white people saying the word.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
and choose your battles. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you feel comfortable saying this, then there's a reason why.
Right,
Whether
right.
it's because this is in a song or because you have friends who are cool with saying it. But I don't think I don't have any white friends that have said it to me, so I'm like,
Yeah, you're not
you know,
really like haven't been put in that type of situation,
No,
honestly. Yeah.
no.
I can understand that though. It's definitely like one of those things that's it really just depends on the person,
like,
and it's
I'm
so
not gonna
controversial.
fight. I guess that's what I should say.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight. Like I'm not gonna physically get into an altercation about it.
Yeah.
Because what I like that you remember that story about the woman, and she did say it maliciously though. This older, like 70-something-year-old woman, she said the N-word at Popeyes.
yes,
And the guy went out and like
yes.
broke her fucking back. I love my freedom. So I mean, again,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so it's stuff like that where it's like I'm not gonna sacrifice. It's a mental note. You felt cool saying that. If it's outside of music, then that is super weird. But like
It's super
music,
weird.
I can kind of you know have some distance. I'm like, but there are people who online they're like on TikTok they're like, you don't have to say it. They're like, you know, whenever the words come up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, there are some Glorilla songs where it's like, Meg, there are
Turns
some,
out with my bitches.
I mean-
Turns out with my.
I mean, you know, and I've even kind of like sometimes I might substitute and say ninja, but that just feels very
See,
like.
I did that one time,
It doesn't feel
and
right. Don't
I did that one time, and everyone thought I said it, and
It's too close.
It took me a year to recover from that mentally, and
It's too close. It's too close to it.
because my thing is like, okay, like I heard somebody else say it, so I'm like, oh, I'll do that then, like because
Yeah.
I want to say it like in the part, and then I did it, and yeah, I almost got my back broken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that's what I'm
don't do that
like,
anymore.
and that's what I'm like.
It's way too close.
It's like I'm not gonna get out of because I just don't know how to. I don't think I know how to address it honestly. And if somebody, and I've said to him like, if somebody were saying it to be malicious, I think I would actually laugh because
because it's like it's giving corny.
It's
like,
giving devolved. That's what it's giving. You know what I mean? So I'm
it's
just
giving
like,
caveman
yeah,
days.
I mean,
like,
all right, Neanderthal. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all right. Yeah, sweetie. Like,
It is.
yeah.
It is definitely very
You know,
weird.
and then it's like I think one of the things that kind of detached me from it, just like how I feel about it being used, is like
because Julian says it so much.
yeah, but even younger was like you read the definition and like the definition is like ignorant person, like that.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and then I'm like, oh well, anybody. This can be anybody, but this is what they
You just
chose.
go around telling everybody
Right.
that.
You know, I'm like, this is what they chose to impart on this group of people to
Yeah.
oppress and break them down. And
Yeah.
I know even during like those overlapping time periods, Asian people will also refer to as that. You have what they
I don't know. Asians have gotten some pretty.
well, yeah, they got some other ones too.
Yeah, they earn theirs though.
Yeah.
They definitely. I'm joking.
You know, and it's just like,
yeah, I think every race has gotten some crazy ass names.
Every race has something. Every group has
yeah, like if I had $1 for every time I've been called wetback, beaner, like all that stuff, it would be, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like that stuff it just doesn't bother me that much anymore. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. And I think that it's like cool to be jokeful about it. It's important.
And that's what he and I talk about sometimes, because it's like, especially when you know someone's saying something or doing something to get a reaction out of you.
Yes, yeah.
Whether it's being, you know, called a slur or, you know,
slut, you know, all that.
It's just like,
your pants are ugly, you stink, you know, that sort of stuff. You're a bitch.
You know, and it's just like, I don't like the idea of anyone having that much power over me.
To get you that riled up.
To get me that riled up. I don't like the idea of anything outside of myself.
But I love being riled up sometimes.
I do not, because it's not. I broke a pair of glasses last year being riled up. I broke a pair of seeing eyeglasses.
That's it? Harley, that's so
I used
cute.
to break phones in high school.
I literally will break a house down.
Well, I've
busted out windows.
No, I'm scared of damaging my.
I'll kill somebody.
No, I believe you.
My anger outbursts are.
I tell you, I like
they're
my
a little
freedom.
nasty.
I like my freedom.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to jail a couple times, so it's like it doesn't really bother me that much anymore. But it's like you know, would I go back? No, but would I be okay if I did?
Would it be 100%? The worst thing that happened to me?
I don't give a fuck. The toast in there was pretty good, but go ahead. What is your
shit?
What's your business doing? Are you okay?
I was laughing and
at the toast.
Yeah,
it actually is really good.
I was like, when you said that, I was like, do they have jelly by chance, or is it just?
I didn't get jelly, but it was just butter and like toast, and like it was like the type of toast that like it's toasted, and then they smear the butter on it, so like the toast has like gone into the butter a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Damn, that doesn't sound
like the little like brown parts of the toast have now smeared in with the butter, and I had that and some eggs. That's all I ate.
I didn't know they served that in prison.
Well,
I'm sorry, jail. I'm sorry.
She's in prison, in federal prison.
No, to be fair,
in jail's like kind of cute.
No, my very like mildly sheltered suburban life, for the longest, I thought jail and prison were the same.
Oh,
until I was like maybe 18. I was like, there's a difference.
There's a big difference.
There's a difference. I was like, oh, this is for harder shit, and this is like.
Imagine if I went to prison. I would have slayed the house the fuck down. If I went to prison, I would come back so skinny. I would literally look like I was on Ozempic.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go to prison.
That Gucci Mane diet.
I know. Yeah. I actually liked him when he was fat, though.
Nah.
I loved him when he was chunky.
In general, but he yeah.
He kind of went off on a little tangent. He's a little weird now.
But you said.
And Kodak Black too. He used to be fat whenever he got out of prison. He was beautiful. Yeah. He was like nice and chunky and like.
Oh well, that's like
healthy.
I was gonna say that's his thing.
And Jake said,
with a little bit
Jake said, and one thing about me, I've already lost 12 pounds.
No, but to be fair, Jew was a blow pop. I used to call him like a blow pop. Yeah, like he had a big head and like skinny body, and then he got up to like 200 pounds, and then he like realized he needed to lose weight, and then he would look at old pictures, and he was like, "You didn't tell me I was this big." I was like, "I didn't know. Like, I couldn't tell my damn self." Like, he
said he got up to 200 pounds and said one thing about it: I'm gorgeous.
No, and what?
So plug your business. What's the name of your business? What's going on with it? What you doing?
Girl, so tell everyone. I'm gonna preface with this: I am unemployed.
Love that.
Yes and no, and we'll talk about that. So I've been unemployed for over a year.
Period. Love my tax dollars are going to that.
Got laid off from my cushy training and customer success manager job that I was there for 4 years at.
Oh gosh.
Pretty cool. Like,
why?
It was mass layoffs.
Oh my god, that's the worst when you like literally can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and they're like, it's not your performance. Like, we just want to let you know it's not your. But we were already a small team.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he's like kind of, we just talk about like different industries, and you know, if you look at a company, especially like a tech company, like usually like the trainer kind of team might be like the first to kind of get axed. And so I was in that bubble, and so it was like I was ready to go just mentally, but I value the purpose of a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I have a business I'm trying to run, so clearly I need this for financial, funding and stuff like that. Yeah. And just structure, stability and everything. And so after that, like had severance pay and everything.
Oh, that's nice at least.
That lasted for a little minute.
Yeah.
Okay, stuff like that. And so I was like, well, now I get to pour into my business. But here was the funny part. You know, when you're working a 9-to-5 job, it's easy. I was just telling my best friend this last night. I was like, it's easy to say, oh, you know, if I didn't have this job, I'd be able to get so much more done in my business. Well, bitch, you don't have this job. Now, what are you doing? You know, and so we've had to have, Jew and I have had conversations just like really like mirror to mirror, like, you know, are you going as hard as you can, that type of thing. And it can be a tough conversation. Yeah. Because it's like you want to feel like you are, but then it's like really, and ask him, he's like, don't let me pick apart your 24-hour day. Like, yes, he's like,
what would he say? You sleep in?
No, he
said you sleep till 12. You don't fucking make me dinner. You don't do the fucking dishes. I come home and your ass is still in the goddamn motherfucking bed.
No, you're on.
I have a show and I don't have no fucking dinner. That's probably what he.
Hell no.
That's hilarious. No, because one thing about me, if I wasn't employed, I still wouldn't do shit.
No, I still did.
Stay-at-home moms are like, oh, I want to do all this and that. I wouldn't do a damn thing. No, stay at home, go to work, not a damn thing.
The thing I loved about staying at home, working from home, is that okay, during my lunch break I would go to the gym, I could start a load of laundry, you know, something, and then it's just like there's no commute, so there's nothing that I'm really drained from. It's just like when you're on a computer and you work from home and then a majority of your business stuff is also on the computer,
that's just exhausting.
You want a break. I run 2 websites that I built from, you know, the ground up, and then I have to do all these revamps, and I'm also the one creating the artwork. It can be a lot, you know.
That definitely is a lot.
But it's still rewarding because it's like I've gotten so much support over the years, and so my company name is Dakota Harley Company.
Love it.
Dakota Harley Company.
Super cute.
And the name, we created the name in 2011. I was still in school actually, and Jew and I was like our first year together. We got together in 2011. And I want to say this may have been like between 2011 and 2012. And so, you know, like the starting conversation.
I think I lost my virginity in 2011.
Shout out to you.
Maybe it was 2012. I can't remember. And
so, you know, like a lot of couples when they're like first, you know, what's your favorite color and what kind of baby
I want to do that.
Like? Yeah. You know, and so like, and everybody knows that we don't want children, but yes, to be realistic, at one point we did like talk about it early on in our relationship, and so he's like, if I ever had a daughter, I would want to name her Dakota. And I was like,
I have that name written down too. It's such a cute name.
It's such a cute name. And then me being Harley, like I've been calling myself Harley since like the end
womb.
Like really since the end of high school. And here's a precursor, and I'm gonna go back into everything else because that's just how I brain.
Yeah.
And my nickname in high school in marching band was Giggles.
Giggles,
because I laugh so much.
I do too.
And I'm one of those people where like when I start laughing, it's like, and I can't stop.
Yeah.
It makes other people laugh because I'm like still laughing so hysterically, and so people nickname me Giggles. And I was like, that's kind of like a precursor to Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because she has like a creepy laugh.
Creepy laugh, and she jokes and all about laughing and you know, being maniacal and shit like that.
Maniacal is a good way of like demented and a little insane, a little mentally capacitated.
Yeah. And so that's where I saw a lot of overlap in where her character resonated with me, on top of I love the red black color scheme. Like those are 2 of my favorite colors.
Like red and black.
Those are 2 of my favorite colors.
It's very much like your vibe. I can see it. So cute.
And so Dakota Harley, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And so that started out as like my fashion, but the thing is, we've been talking about art. I'm equal parts fashion, equal parts art.
Yeah.
There's not one that I put over the other.
Yeah.
They are literally on the same. Like if I'm sketching, that is art, and if I'm sketching clothes, that is fashion.
Right.
And I remember going when I was in taking my fashion classes, and we'd have to do our fashion design sketches, and one of my professors, Professor Wallace, I'm gonna shout her out because she's amazing, Professor Hope Wallace.
Okay. Hey, Miss Squaw.
But she didn't play, and she would say, now why are you adding eyes and nose and lips to the models? I'm like, they're sketches, and she's like, you
have to see the vision.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, and I'm like, because when I draw, it's a whole person, like it's a personality,
it's someone that you can envision.
It's a character, you know. And so a
lot of fashion designers are like that though. Like if they have like an outfit, they have a very specific kind of person that they want it to be on, and they find that person.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of like model auditions and all that, because they have like an idea in their head. I need this to be a tall, this skin color, this kind of hair, like the whole nine.
Look. But to her point, her thing is like, where your focus is, you're working, you're the clothes, like, you know, and that, like, I'm talking like,
she said, why are you making every single one of them
creating lids, I'm creating dimension and depth, and like making sure she has the labre, you know, like, she's like, babe.
She said, Harley, why are you making all of them Jewish? What's going on here?
It's like, babe. She's like, yeah, we just need the clothes. We just need the clothes. Well, she didn't make me erase it, but she was just like, you don't need to add that much detail.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I can't separate art from fashion. So So Dakota Harley Company is pretty much
Is that like website, Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, website, Instagram.
Follow it.
Dakota Harley, dakotaharley.co. That's the website. That'll be where I'll eventually sell like my ready to wear apparel. Right now, I'm just taking like custom orders and doing like custom design stuff, alterations, upcycling stuff, and then I am working on a line of bags. My halo. I don't know if you've seen my yellow bag.
I've seen them. Yeah.
So like I've gotten compliments just about everywhere I go with that bag.
That's
cute.
He's
been getting on me for 5 years because I haven't made that bag.
I
first made it in 2019, but I got to get the right materials and everything. So.
Yeah, you want it to be right.
Yeah, it's been a little delay there, but still working on that. So bags,
beautiful.
Tassel earrings, and then I got some scarves that I want to put out next year. So
oh my god, so cute.
Design side, and then art side is Harleysattik.
Harleysattik,
right?
Very cute.
Harleysattik, harleysattik.co. And that's pretty much all of my art, my visual art, my photography, painting, sketches. That's where I share a lot. You follow me on IG, so that's just where it's a lot more of like my personal philosophy and, you know, yoga and just everything else that creates me. And so it's the attic, like, you know, the attic is
like what's in your mind.
It's a euphemism for, you know, what's up there. And I'm always saying, like, people are like, oh, your attic is clouded. You know, why is there clutter in your attic? You know, and so
like your attic is filthy. It's actually looks like a prison.
So that's in the way that I think, and I just feel like I'm so many things inside of one, like a lot of us, but I can only, it just feels very intense for me. Like I'm into so many different things, and I feel like I'm good and going to be great and even better at those things as I keep working. So on that side of it, I just put out the Ponderosa series kind of over the summer. That was a digital photography series that I did, just showcasing nature around my childhood home that we called the Ponderosa.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I did it as a tribute for my dad, not my bio dad, my dad Carly, who married my mom in '98. He passed away in 2022 due to he had a stroke, but he had cancer, and so it was like some health complications.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so he was the gardener, he was the landscaper, like nobody. He was so serious about the yard at home that he went and had a fake trophy. Well, it was a real trophy, but it wasn't a real competition. Well, I guess if you want it to be a competition, it can be. But he made a trophy, and it was like best lawn, #1 lawn or something like that.
Oh, that's cute.
For himself. He's a crazy
best lawn you'll ever see.
He was very proud of his lawn, and he taught me a lot about gardening and kind of helped me have the
green thumb,
the hunter green thumb that I have. He was like more Kelly green. I'm like hunter green. Evergreen.
Okay. Love that. I love plants.
I love
like
plants too.
Plants. Yeah, I love plants. My plants usually actually stay alive when I feel like they should die. My plants always stay like alive.
But they're out here. Do you have any indoor plants?
I need more. I need more indoor plants.
And depending on
I had one, but I took it to my office, like at work. But I need more indoor plants.
So I put that out.
Well, that's awesome.
It's I don't know how many photos necessarily are in it because I have several edits of like the same photo because
options. I like having options.
Yeah, of course.
And so
variety.
actually the shirt that he has on is one of the photography collection items.
Love it.
So I've gotten some really great feedback from that. We did
it's
the
exciting.
Melbourne Art and Craft Expo that was over a month ago over here at Wickham Park.
Yeah.
Which is really great. We were able to only do Saturday because Sunday rained out.
The rain,
The fucking hurricane Hurricane Milton came through.
Yeah, Mr. Milton.
But it was still cool to be there and get like that direct feedback from people. I sold an art print or digital photography print. I sold a tee that was on the rack, from the Ponderosa series collection.
Cute.
And then she bought this tee, but online. So,
okay, that's good.
But then it was out of stock, so I had to refund her. So that sucked.
But it's okay. You're gonna get back on the wagon.
I'm gonna count that as a sale still.
Yes,
I don't care.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So things like that, and
business thriving is always super important. That's awesome.
And that's the hard part, because it's like I was saying, like being unemployed and not having like that cash flow that I'm used to. It's like I'm having to get scrappier right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think I'm about to do a flash sale on the rest of those prints that I have.
Yeah.
And sell those and
being a business owner and being like an entrepreneur and trying to make money it does require a lot of finessing, a lot of frugalness, a lot of resourcefulness, all of those things. Which it'll come with time, and you're killing it. You're doing great. All of your art's so beautiful. I think that you are such a beautiful person. I'm so happy that you were able to come on.
Thank you.
I've always been drawn to your personality and just everything. It's such an important thing, and I'm glad that you got to come on and talk about your business and your art and everything. So I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah. I'll show the camera real quick. So
show the camera.
This is, I'm like, I don't have one of Brasso's.
Gorgina, if you want to order.
So we got the 4 P's. Like I said, philosophy is a big thing, a part that I'm into. So the 4 P's: patience, persistence, perseverance, and presence. I think those are things that are important on this journey of life as humans, and just trying to figure things out. Like, we could always use a good reminder. So I add these quotes. Check it out. And then what was the other thing I was gonna and then I'm big into upcycling and telling people how to be mindful about their wardrobe. So I am gonna start taking styling clients and start to do closet audits. So if you feel like
audit?
Yeah, so I'm working on some.
Imagine if she saw mine.
I'm working on some content, just doing my own closet audits and helping people. If you want to be like my first client, you can
open my closet and be like, all these clothes are dirty, right? None of them are hanging up. They're actually all need to be washed.
We can work together, and I can
beautiful. That's cute.
You can kind of refine the process.
Awesome.
But this skirt, I've had this skirt since 8th grade.
Love that. I wish I could wear clothes.
I can't button it where it should be buttoned, so I've got
a
3
huge paper clip.
safety pins, like pinning, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's why I love
you.
safety
Ain't that sound?
Thank you.
Gorgeous. Love it.
Thank you so much, Selena.
Bye.
Watermelon got the size of King Kong. Watermelon got the size of King Kong. Glasses shattering, million fractions on my face. I can't seem to put them back together in one place. Fractured on my fingers, swollen tongue is out of taste. Cut down all my trees, I'm catching monsters by the lake. I hope I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not wrong.